China commits further investments in aid to Guyana as President Barra Jagdeo meets Premier Wen Jiabo on the eve of the Global Economic Forum in northern China.
Agriculture Minister Robert Prasad is expected to meet rice exporters tomorrow to discuss the way forward for Guyana's rice industry.
And Home Affairs Minister Clement Rohi says there seems to be a new emerging pattern on police distrust to replace what has already been destroyed.
The details of these and other stories, business news, and of course the latest sporting action in the Diamond, Mineral Water and NCN Sport News and more after these. Good evening, I'm Delicia Fletcher.
And I'm Paul Moore.
With this edition of the 6 o'clock news for today, Monday, September 29, 2008. Here's what's happening, Paul.
Thanks, Alicia. China says it will continue to provide aid for Guyana and is committed to enhance the current bilateral economic cooperation between the two countries. This comment came from Chinese Premier Wen Jiabo when he met with President Barra Jagdeo on Saturday ahead of the Global Economic Forum in northern China. Edwin Lane reports.
President Barra Jagdeo, Montenegro Prime Minister Milo Jovanovic, and Chairman of the World Economic Forum Klaus Schwab are the three leaders who met with the Chinese Premier on Saturday last. The meeting was held ahead of the 2008 Summer Davos Forum, an economic conference in that country. During the meeting, Premier Wen assured that his country will continue to provide aid to Guyana and enhance bilateral economic cooperation on the basis of equality and mutual benefit. Guyana established economic ties with China back in 1972, and the two countries have since shared a relationship regarded by both as excellent. Following Premier Wen's announcement, President Jagdeo reiterated Guyana's firm adherence to the One China policy and thanked China for its support to Guyana's social and economic development. He said Guyana would like to work with China for an even stronger bilateral relation. Wen noted that Guyana was the first country from the Caribbean region to participate in the economic conference. He says the conference offers an opportunity for the world to better understand China and for China to further integrate into the world. The Premier added that amid the current global financial turmoil, the international community should enhance communication and cooperation. He believes that they should also deal with the challenges together in promoting the steady growth of the world economy.
Meanwhile, President Jagdeo is expected to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Chinese government to build a proposed transmission system network from Skeldon to Purika along Guyana's Atlantic coastline.
So we have applied for a loan of about $40 million. So I think we'll be signing the MOU on that loan, because I'll be meeting with the president of the Exim Bank of India, China too.
The Guyanese leader already participated in several fora in New York before traveling to China. These include the Global Creative Leadership Summit, the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, and the United Nations General Assembly.
The Global Economic Forum, which brings together the considered strongest governmental and corporate economic minds, begins in China this week. From the Chinese Embassy here in Guyana, Edward Lane for the 6 o'clock news.
Several civil society organizations, including various trade unions and the private sector, are advocating for the postponement of the October 15 signing of the Economic Partnership Trade Deal. The bodies say there should be more time for the Caribbean countries to fully examine the contents and the consequences of the agreement. They note that this is necessary since the present agreement suggests dire implications to the already fragile Caribbean states. The organizations have also stated that the current global economic crisis must be taken into consideration before any nation enters such an irrevocable agreement. To this effect, they have formulated a strategy to raise consciousness and support within Guyana, the Caribbean, and the European Union. A team of project management consultants from Trinidad are in Guyana, part of efforts to build a more efficient and productive labor force in the region. They met with Guyana's Labour Minister Mansour Nadir at the weekend, looking at correcting the weaknesses within the region's workforce. Nicole Telford has details.
Training was foremost on the list of development strategies to be used throughout the Caribbean for the region's improve. The Trinidadian team project management consultants met with Guyana's Labour Minister as they examined the weaknesses within the region's workforce.
At the Ministry of Labour, one of the things that came out again is resource management, your resources, your skilled resources, and it is not unique to Guyana because we have it all over some parts in the Caribbean, and you have this brain drain.
He has added that for the region to be efficient and independent, skills training should be given priority.
The advancement of technology what you will see happening, even at the lower level, the way they used to do things manually before, that has changed. People, because of the task was so limited, because of these type of advancement, you see, you're looking for a broader skill set to carry out that same level job there.
Hayes also said that the Caribbean must continue training its workers at a wider national level to compete with the skills to that of China, Malaysia, and the developing world. This, she added, will enable the region to effectively change the importation of foreign skills. Nicole Telford, NCN 6 o'clock News.
Home Affairs Minister Clement Rohi says that surprisingly some persons do not support the recent killing of Rondell Fineman Rollins. The minister was referring to recent assertions by veteran trade unionist Lincoln Lewis and community activist Mark Ben-Scott. The men have all publicly expressed a lack of trust in the Guyana police force. He said, what seems to be emerging is a new pattern that is being cultivated to replace what has already been destroyed. Mr. Rohi refers to it as a plan to maintain the tension in society by encouraging persons to believe that the phantom gang has resurfaced, an assertion the Home Affairs Minister totally dismisses. Several primary and secondary school students in Georgetown today participated in a march to the National Park where a rally was held to end Education Month activities. Minister within the Education Ministry, Dr. Desiree Fox, urged the students to dedicate themselves to achieving a sound education in promoting development. Details from Monica Jones.
Students from secondary and primary schools in the city marched towards the National Park this morning as the curtains come down on Education Month activities. In an address to the students, Minister within the Education Ministry, Dr. Desiree Fox, stressed the need for parents to get more involved in their child's education.
Through many different things, through the Parent Teachers Association, for example, because that's where parents and teachers communicate and plan for the school. So, boys and girls, it's not just only about you being in school, but it's also about the obligation of your parents and your teachers.
The minister says she has recognized that some parents are unable to assist their children with homework. She's therefore encouraging students to fully dedicate themselves to what is being taught in schools. According to her, this is necessary if they are to contribute to the country's development.
Education means that it is developed to be able to have a policy that will nurture good citizens. And not only that, but to eliminate literacy and to also alleviate poverty, to modernize Guyana, and to be able to have a country that is progressive and develop in that way.
Last week, Guyana observed Child Protection Week under the theme, Every Citizen a Child Protector, and the minister says this must not be removed from minds of citizens. The rally ended with various performances by students. Monica Jones, the 6 o'clock News.
Agriculture Minister Robert Prasad is expected to meet rice exporters tomorrow to discuss the way forward for Guyana's rice industry. This comes in light of Jamaica's unwillingness to purchase some 32,500 tons of rice, which was set aside for that market. More in this report.
Agriculture Minister Robert Prasad is slated to address concerns of rice exporters and discuss the future with regards to overseas markets for Guyana's rice. The meeting is also expected to address other issues, including the pricing of paddy for farmers and timely payment. The discussion comes on the heels of Jamaica's Industry Minister, Carl Samuda, expressing his country's move to stop the importation of rice, since he claims that it has no need for the commodity. This has cast local exporters in a dilemma, since there is no buyers for the 32,000 tons of rice, which is ready and waiting to be shipped. On Friday, Trade Minister Henry Jeffrey announced that he had spoken to Samuda to clear the air on the issue. According to Minister Jeffrey, Samuda had stated that his country is committed to purchasing its annual rice requirements, which equates to some 60,000 metric tons from Guyana. However, while Jamaica agreed to sign a draft agreement on a best endeavor basis, a concrete arrangement is yet to be finalized. SEMUDA had committed to entering into a more definitive arrangement once the Jamaica Commodity Trading Corporation becomes operational. However, this still leaves Guyana without a market for the amount which was set aside for Jamaica. It is hoped that tomorrow's meeting will be able to deliver the verdict on this issue. Reporting for the 6 o'clock news, I'm Shardalal.